Hi guys, this is Dan from Magic Pachinko with another short video on a vintage Pachinko machine. Today we're featuring a Sanyo Comet 2. The Comet 2s are pretty easy to identify. They're going to have the side attractions that look like this, Sanyo. And because they say Comet 2 on the back of them, but I mean, from the front, that's the easiest way to identify a Comet 2. Unfortunately, there's another big sticker over the licensing sticker, so I can't see the show a year, but this has got to be they're all mid-70s, 74, 75, 76, somewhere in that area. So this particular machine was only done as a functional restoration. That's what the customer wanted. So the original playfield is in very nice condition. The colors are still there. Little or no water damage to it. Dirty, yes, that can be cleaned, but the actual playfield was in pretty nice shape. Most of this was in pretty good shape, and the wood on this machine was in very nice shape too. This had been stored in a good place for many years. So again, this was just a functional restoration done on this. When I do functionals though, I do take this apart. These get really dirty, and it's critical that the balls run through there the way they're supposed to. And I always clean the ashtrays up just because they look so crummy. The launch mechanism was taken apart and cleaned, but the attractions and things like that, I don't do any work like that, nor do I do anything with wood, with one exception, and I'll tell you that in just a minute. This had the stabilization feet on it, so I left it on there. Now, unfortunately, Pachinko machines throughout their life, if they don't have feet on them or something that stabilizes them, tend to tip over, especially when they've got Pachinko balls in them. They're very top heavy. And at some point in time, this machine tipped over. And one of the things that always hits when they tip is this tray. And this one tipped. And what happens is there's, I think you can see it here. These screws here. Okay, those screws are what screw into the plastic, all right? So unfortunately what happens is when the machine's tipping, this gets such a violent hit, it breaks the plastic on the inside. So instead of having a nice big piece of plastic for the screw to screw into nice and tight, these shatter. So the screws don't have that much to bite onto. So the only way you can fix these, if you don't have the broken pieces, and what I did is I used some instant glue and when I put the screws in, so hopefully the screws will stay in place. But I mean, this is all on okay. This doesn't quite fit the way it's supposed to, nor does this, simply because it's broken and there's just no way to get it back, without slopping glue all over it, which you don't want to do. So functionally, it's fine. On the back, the Comet 2s are pretty cool on the back. So when I do a functional restoration, all of this, everything you see on the back comes off. These internally, like every other Pachinko machine in the world, are filthy on the inside. So all of this gets stripped off and gets clean. Now what I did with this one is once I had all the stuff stripped off, I sanded this board and then I polyurethaned all of this back side of the machine so it won't absorb moisture, and it gives a nice clean surface to work on when you rebuild. And the balls roll against this surface too, so I like to have it clean, and I think the polyurethane helps. Let me think about what else I wanted to tell you here. This did not have the upper feed track cover. So what I did is I simply took a piece of vinyl siding. How do I get it out of here? Well, breaking it. There we go. Okay. So I just took a piece of vinyl siding and cut it and shaped it. And if you notice, it does have a dip in it, like the original. This stuff responds well to heat and is very bendy, and then as it cools, it'll retain the shape. So you just get ingenious with it. And then it'll go in here, slide in here. And what I did is once I had it in here, I heated it up with a hot air gun, pressed down on it with a flat screwdriver blade, took the heat away, and then let go, and it retained that shape. So this is just sits there, shouldn't go anywhere. All it does is keep the balls from jumping over each other as things roll on. This is the electrical component here, and on a Sanyo 2, there's 3 prongs there, and it's the top 2 that you'll go to with your power supply. So I did that with the pigtail. Okay, so everything is all clean, everything is all put back together. So with that said, now I start doing all my testing, and I started having a lot of trouble with this, and it was kind of driving me nuts. And internally, and I don't know if you can see it, you can see it right here. You can see the little brass piece there, and you can see the green plastic. All right, what that is on the inside is a mechanism that when a ball comes in, it'll move the mechanisms and redirect the path of the ball, so on and so forth. And I always take a good picture of these things. In fact, I'll see if I can, I don't know if this will translate over to the video or not, but I'll show you a picture of it. This is it right here, okay? So I took a picture of it, as I always do with things like this, but then I took it all apart and cleaned the brass. I cleaned all of the pivots and de-rusted all the nails and so on and so forth. And then I used that picture to be able to rebuild it. So I rebuilt it and I put it back in the machine. And now when I started to test, the balls weren't running through internally like they were supposed to. So I ended up taking this back piece off again. Fortunately, it comes off in one piece. And it's hard to see, but this piece right here, come on, there we go. This piece right here and that piece right there, they look identical. They're not. And I had this one over here. So what was happening is when a ball comes in, it hits this arm, and the weight of the ball pushes that arm down, and the ball exits. Well, with these reversed, it wasn't letting this drop down far enough for the ball to exit. So the balls were getting stuck on the inside and not going through the machine like they should have. Yeah, well, okay, bang your head against the wall on that one. So I finally got all of that fixed, and then other things just weren't working, and what I found were a couple of little tiny screws that I had dropped while I was taking tulips off and so on and so forth. And unfortunately, if you're going to be putting a screw back in here and you drop it, make sure you find it, because chances are it'll go inside the machine, and then when you try to get it to run, it's going to mess something up. And that's the trouble I had with this. It just took me a while to get all of the stuff that was a little out of kilter back the way it's supposed to, and everything's fine now. So when you get this machine, you're going to take your power supply, plug it into the wall somewhere, and then come up and plug it into the pigtail. And what you'll see is the ball out light will come on. This is the ball out light. Directly below it is another light, which is the jackpot light. While we're here, these fingers should be pushed back, not down in the track. This is a maintenance piece. If you push the fingers down, the balls stop right here, and you don't want that. So you want to get that out of the way so they flow all the way down. Okay. So ball out light. By default, the ball dump is set so that when these, I don't know what to call them except L's. I call them L's. When the weight of the balls is on the other piece of the L, these swing up like that and allow the jackpot arm to go up and down. On a ball dump situation, this gets moved back, and then these swing completely out of the way and let the balls out of the machine. So by default, it's where you want it to be. But if this ever got pushed over and these got like that, and then it got left in that position, every ball you put in would drop out of the machine. So just push this over, let them swing up into this area. Again, this is the way you should get the machine when you unpack it. It should be like that, okay? All right, so you're gonna start out with just a handful of pachinko balls. And what I was gonna say, if your machine is set up right, this one is. But if you're watching this video and trying to set up your own machine, if your machine is set up properly, they'll go from the upper hopper down the upper feed track into the turnaround, across the lower feed track and into the jackpot, and that's where they stop, which is what those balls do. So handful, they run down through. And what you want to make sure of is that you have a double row going into the turnaround, a double row here, and then the double row feeds one side and the other. That's what you want to make sure of. So you want to make sure it's just a double row. Now, when I've got enough balls in here, there's a weight shift of these parts, and it has turned the ball out light off. Now, what it's also done over here is this long wire is now been lifted up because of this weight shift of the balls. And what it's done is it's opened up there's a little flag in the ball handling mechanism, and it pulls that back so that the balls will feed onto the track. So that's, you want to make sure this is up when you do that. Now, the last thing that you check before you get ready to play the machine is to make sure that your seesaw is tipped properly. If you look in here where it says Sanyo, you see the white plastic. It's about almost that big, not quite. But the right end is up, left end is down. You don't want it this way. If it is this way, this little push button right here is what you push up on. And when you push up on that, it tips the seesaw up. So the seesaw is now in the up position. It's ready to receive a winning ball. The winning ball goes into the seesaw. The seesaw then tips, lets the ball run out onto the jackpot arm, which is right here. Jackpot arm gets pushed down, releasing the balls, and then the winning ball will fall out. The jackpot arm goes back up, and it resets the seesaw, and it's ready for the next win. So, with that said, if you're playing and you get a win and it does not pay out, that's your sign to stop and come back here and kind of look in this area and make sure there's no balls stuck in here. If there are, you can wiggle this, you can lift the seesaw, you can play around. You'll get the balls out. It's not a big deal. And then you can keep playing. But if you get a win and it doesn't pay out and you continue to play, then you're just going to get balls backing up one behind each other and create a huge jam. And then it's just as easy to unjam them, 10 of them, as it is one. But, you know, you might as well unjam one and not let it build up. So now that we've got everything ready to go, we'll bring the machine back around. This machine does sit back, leaning back. The way the feet are, it does lean back, so that's what you want. You want it leaning back. So you're just going to now take a handful of pachinko balls, feed them down into the front tray, and you're going to start to launch them. The one thing you want to do is have something like this shoebox back here, because the winning balls and the losing balls drop out of these style machines. So you need something back there to catch them. So you're going to go all the way down to make sure that a ball gets put onto the launch rail, and then you just let it slide off your thumb. Now, if you go all the way down and let go, it can go all the way around, and it'll go in here and come back to you. So you want to go all the way down to make sure it gets onto the launch ramp, and then just back off a little bit on this before you let go. And then ideally you'll learn how to get them to drop right down through the middle. That's the ideal situation. Let's see if we can get some wings here. So it went in here, gave me a win. It also opened these two tulips, and that is controlled by that green plastic mechanism that I showed you. And of course that wasn't working initially. And when the tulips are open, they're a pretty big target versus being closed. Okay. So we have a situation here where this is the ball out light is on. And it shouldn't be a situation. Oh, it is. I didn't put enough balls in it. We did run out of balls. I forgot to put the rest of these in. So assuming that you have 500 or so balls, you want 400 of them, 450 of them in that back hopper, because you only need a handful up here to get going. Let's see if we can get a few more wins. So that's the Sanyo Comet 2, again with a partial functional restoration done to it. And we got a nice working machine, very pretty machine. Hope you like it.